Have you ever felt like you don't fully recognize yourself anymore, but at the same time, you're not quite who you're becoming either? It's like standing in the middle of two lives, one that no longer fits and one that hasn't fully arrived, and that space in between can feel confusing, uncomfortable, and sometimes even lonely. But what if this isn't a breakdown or a crisis? What if this is actually a transformation, quietly unfolding beneath the surface? Because the truth is, you're not lost, you're simply between two versions of yourself. There comes a point in life where the old version of you starts to fade, not all at once, but gradually, almost without you noticing. The habits, the mindset, and the identity you once carried so naturally begin to feel heavy, like clothes that no longer fit. The things you used to tolerate now drain you. The things you once chased don't excite you in the same way, and even the way you see the world begins to shift. And while this is a clear sign of growth, it doesn't always feel empowering. In fact, it can feel like everything is quietly falling apart. This is where it becomes difficult, because while the old version of you is dissolving, the new version of you hasn't fully formed yet, and that creates a strange emotional tension. You don't have all the answers, you don't feel completely confident, and you're not entirely sure where you're going next. So you're left in this in-between space, trying to understand who you are now while slowly letting go of who you used to be, and that uncertainty can feel deeply unsettling. You might notice yourself pulling away from people, places, or routines that once felt familiar, not because you don't care, but because you're changing in ways that others might not see yet. Conversations that once felt effortless may now feel forced, environments that once felt comfortable may now feel limiting, and there's often no clear explanation for why this is happening. It's not that something is wrong, it's that you're no longer aligned with those things in the same way, and that realization can be both clarifying and painful at the same time. Growth often requires letting go, and letting go isn't just about external things, it's about identities, expectations, and the version of yourself that was built to survive certain chapters of your life. Now, you're being asked to release that version, not because it was wrong, but because it's no longer who you're meant to be. You are being guided towards a version of yourself that is more aligned, more aware, and more intentional. But before you fully step into that version, there's a phase where you feel like you're neither here nor there. And that's the part no one really prepares you for, because in that space, it can feel like you're nothing at all, not your old self and not your new self, just existing in uncertainty. It's easy in those moments to question everything, to wonder if you're making the right decisions, or if you've somehow lost your way. But you have not lost your way, you're in the middle of becoming. Every meaningful change in life comes with a transition phase, a bridge between who you were and who you're becoming, and that bridge is rarely comfortable. It's unfamiliar, often unclear, and sometimes invisible to everyone else around you, which can make it feel even more isolating. But discomfort doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It often means you're growing in ways that require you to step beyond what feels safe and known. The version of you that is emerging is asking more from you, asking for honesty where you once avoided truth, asking for courage where you once chose comfort, and asking for self-awareness where you once moved on autopilot. This new version of you requires alignment, not approval, and that means you may have to make choices that feel uncertain in the moment but are necessary for your growth, and that's not easy, especially when you can't yet see the outcome of those choices. But the discomfort you're feeling is not a sign that something is going wrong, it's a sign that something is changing. You're shedding layers that no longer represent who you are, and in doing so, you're creating space for something more authentic and more aligned to take its place. And yes, that process can feel lonely, because not everyone will understand this version of you, especially if they only knew the person you used to be. Some people may expect you to stay the same, and when you don't, it can create distance or confusion, which might make you question whether you should go back to who you were just to feel a sense of familiarity again. But going back isn't growth, it's comfort, and comfort can keep you stuck in a version of your life that no longer reflects who you truly are. You didn't come this far just to shrink yourself back into something you've already outgrown. This in-between phase is your transition season, a space where clarity is still forming, your identity is still evolving, and your direction is still unfolding. Instead of rushing through it or trying to escape the discomfort, what if you allowed yourself to fully experience it? What if you stopped pressuring yourself to have everything figured out and started trusting that this phase is serving a purpose, even if that purpose isn't immediately clear? Because this is where the deeper work happens, where you begin to understand yourself beyond expectations and external validation. It's where you start making decisions that reflect who you're becoming rather than who you've been. And even though those decisions might feel unfamiliar at first, they gradually start to align you with a clearer sense of self. And slowly, almost without you noticing, things begin to shift. The confusion starts to ease, the noise in your mind begins to quiet, and you start to feel more grounded in your choices and more connected to your direction. The new version of you doesn't arrive all at once. It forms piece by piece, through small moments of clarity, courage, and self-trust. Until one day, you realize that you're no longer in between, that you've stepped into a new version of yourself that feels more authentic, more intentional, and more aligned with who you truly are. It's not a final destination, but it is a powerful shift, one that allows you to move forward with a deeper sense of confidence and clarity. So if you're in that space right now, where everything feels uncertain and you don't quite recognize yourself anymore, don't panic, don't rush, and don't assume you're lost. You're not lost, you're in transition, and that transition is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more aligned than ever before. If this resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on what you're currently outgrowing and what you're stepping into, because awareness is the first step towards clarity. And if you're on this journey of growth and self-discovery, make sure you stay connected for more content like this, because who you are becoming is worth every moment of uncertainty you're experiencing right now.